I know that AEW is going to do what they need to do and what they want to do. At the end of the day, we're just two fucking podcasters, and we talk about pro wrestling weekly on Tuesday. I don't know what the feeling is there. AEW has great pro wrestling. They do. That's not even an if and or but. They got the best pro wrestling on the planet. You would be a fool to think that they don't have a better in-ring product than the WWE. What they don't have is leadership. What they don't have is the one thing that I've been asking for months now. Why are the ratings in the toilet? And I don't want to make things about the ratings, but when you look at that show on Wednesday, not having any real emotion, down below 800,000, and a demo that did a 0.2, which was the lowest in 40 years. You got Ospreay, Mercedes, Okada, and all these big signings that you're talking about. What's the problem? AEW put on the best television in years for the entire month of March this year. What's the problem? They don't have an overlapping storyline that is going to take them to the next level. People want to watch weekly episodic television. People want to watch a story that is developing over weeks of television that is going to keep you watching for more. I want to sit there at the end of the show and have a feeling of, I can't wait to fucking next week's show to find out who this is, we'll find out where this is going, or blah, blah, blah. They did that. They tried that with the demo, and that fell flat on its face. And at some point, Drew and I, a lot of people were hanging on to everything. Who's the masked man? Who's going to do the mask? Who's targeting JF? Where was he going? They had that. And then they dropped it on the floor. It was Captain Man.
But I will. The ratings thing is dated. It's not like it's dated.
But you can't sit there and tell me that it's not an aspect that people look at.
But it's a ridiculous like win and loss, flag bearer thing for the tribalist community that AEW and WWE has. It's ridiculous because pro wrestling's never been hotter right now. I mean, it was in the 90s and the 80s and stuff like that. But this is kind of the renaissance. It's another boom era. And realistically, like, if you go look at some of the things from 2019 to 2014, if you go look at ratings, both AEW and WWE, they're down like 500,000 to 600,000 viewers. Like both of them are.
I think to get first shot.
Evil is an old way, without using SAT words, an old way of looking at what's being viewed as success. The attendance for AEW is a glaring problem.
That's what happened.
That is something that should not be. But WWE has had 16 consecutive selling out WrestleMania events around the stadium. But their viewership is down compared to 2019 because it's old news. The ratings are old news. If you can still pull, 750,000 to 1.5 million to 2 million a week, you're crushing it. Because realistically, the ratings are freaking stupid. Pro wrestling is hotter than it's ever been in the past 2 decades, and people are looking at ratings and being like, one win for the good guys, and it's like, no, that's what this is about. It's not 98. I know. TikTok, Instagram, everything comes to account, Twitter, X. I know everything comes to now. And the WWE, I don't want to compare companies because one is labeled the alternative and then you got what WWE is doing. But WWE, I'm using as a prime example here because a lot of people tell me these fucking accounts on social media, they are so blinded because they want to flag bear AEW and wave the flag to AEW so much that they're blinded by what the fucking problems are. And I'm going to mention what WWE's done right. I want you to look at what The Rock is doing with Cody. Weekly episodic television. After that ending last week, it made you want to see what is happening next. Even something like CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. They are planting seeds for a match that's not even happening until August, potentially. But they got you interested. They got you hooked. Look at what they're doing. They're weak. They're building towards something that's driving you to watch week by week. The fucking geeks online that tell me constantly, oh, the story is in the match. And AEW tells stories within the match, which leads to something. Let me tell you something. A story that happens in the match is for the match specifically. How the fuck did we get to the match? That's the problem. I don't understand the problem that these people have without really looking at What's going on here? It's right in front of your eyes. That's not the fucking thing that AEW should be doing. Or, here's a better one. They created an angle out of fucking thin air and they made it into a storyline. Folks, let me tell you something. That's not a story. That's an angle. A story and an angle is a different fucking thing. That's not telling weekly episodic stories. They need something like the Bloodline story that carried SmackDown for the entire year 2 years ago with Sami Zayn and his inclusion until Sami Zayn was betrayed Roman. That's what they need. They don't need fucking weekly great matches. We know we get that. Give me a fucking break with this shit.
Yeah, again, and for the people in the comments, very well said, JD, especially on the angle and storyline thing, there's two completely different things. But for people in the comments being like, WWE versus WCW was all about ratings. Yeah, that was 98, man.
Yeah, the ratings were fucking 7, 8, 9 million.
But again, we were consuming content differently, and we consume content now differently. That's just how it is. You want to go see if someone's a big draw? Go look at their YouTube views. AEW, Copeland and Christian outdrew Mercedes in less than 6 days. She's been in AEW, her debut only had 1 million views. I say only. It's a great testament. But Copeland and Christian's match from Dynamite was at 1.2 million 5 days afterwards. Mercedes just toppled 1 million 14 days after her debut. I'm not saying Mercedes isn't a draw. But you want to see numbers? You want to see real numbers? Go look at YouTube views. Go look at impressions. Go look at different metrics than just ratings. Go look at ticket sales. Why is WWE so hot right now? Because you got people sitting at home being like, I
Black man in chat. Black man in chat.
Feel that energy. That is the difference. And AEW, look at Revolution with Sting. How many people wanted to be in Greensboro just to feel and be a part of that crowd in that match? That is what professional wrestling and sports entertainment is all about. And that's what sells tickets. The want and desire to not miss out. The fear of missing out. The want and the desire to feel that energy and be a part of something special. It grips you. That is what it's all about. That's why you go to movies. That's why you go to games. That's why you go to sporting events. That's why you go to concerts. There's nothing for people to sink their teeth into. You're not going to come. That is why the attendance at times for AEW is down, because people can't get invested in shit you don't give them time to be invested in.
What is there to invest in? A great wrestling match? What's the fucking story? What are you doing there to bring me out to watch the show weekly? To see great wrestling? AEW can, I said this how many fucking times on this show, people. AEW can fucking shit out great matches. Legitimately, they are a 5-star match machine. It's a fact.
Does that work?
No!
It doesn't work here. New Japan Pro Wrestling is huge in Japan because realistically, it's a different type of fan base. They are there for the sport of professional wrestling and the art of wrestling. They're quiet. They sit there and they digest everything. It doesn't work here in the States. That's why New Japan isn't selling out Madison Square Garden every other month or doing stadium shows here in the States because, first of all, they're not readily available. And second of all, that style doesn't work here. It doesn't.
You know, I don't want to sit here and blast Tony Khan because Tony Khan has done a lot of good. He has. But then you get people coming out on social media, AEW saved my life, or AEW. You know, they gave me everything that I could possibly ask for in this life. You had the whole fucking Freakazoid Brigade out. Some of the roster came out. Thanking AEW after the CM Punk podcast with Ariel Helwani. No shit. We understand that. And we're not refuting that. But if you are going to continue to cover up the problems, I will continue to expose them and continue to expose them any chance we're given a live microphone. It is not the way it needs to be. And CM Punk's words hurt everybody so badly because they were 100% factual. I don't want to sit here and say Tony Khan is a money mark, but Tony Khan is exactly what I said Vince McMahon was when Vince McMahon was running WWE when he was there for all the allegations. Nothing more than a fucking toy box with a different toy every week. And he gloats to the fucking kid at school. Look at all the shiny new toys I got. Look at what I have and what you don't. That's great, bro. What are you doing to sell me on watching the fucking show weekly? You
did a great job in March. What's next? What's going into Dynasty? What's going into June, July, August? What are you doing then? I don't want to sit here and blast him because I have no fucking idea what he's got up his sleeve. And he may prove us all wrong, but the problem exists because there is no long-term story. None.
No, I don't agree with the Shaka Boy reference. I think Tony is a fan at heart, I know he's a fan at heart. And it's like when an owner buys a professional sports team that they've been a fan of their whole life. Like if I was given the opportunity to buy the New York Jets, just like Gary Vee wants to buy the New York Jets. There's a different type of connection you have with the product, with the team, with the entity. And I believe Tony Khan truly cares about a demographic that normally is swept under the rug and not given a shit about. I'm basically said on Ariel Helwani, on the MMA Hour. He said that internet niche audience is very small, global audience that we want to cater to and should cater to. Punk told you everything you needed to know. I don't believe Tony Khan is the 11-year-old kid that is buying wrestling figures in real life. And I know the comparison is easy to draw, but I don't believe that. I believe that Tony truly cares about what the perception is and what he sees on social media, because Tony was one of those kids who was in the chat rooms. He was playing PW, what was it? I can't remember the game, where you're basically like playing a wrestling simulator. He was one of those guys and a kid, and now he's getting the chance to live out his dream because of the opportunities he's worked for and he's been afforded. And I don't believe that Tony is just buying up talent to play with his wrestlers. I think Tony truly cares about a demographic and an audience that normally isn't cared about. And that's why the 800,000 stays the 800,000, if you want to talk about ratings. Because Tony really loves that audience because he believes that that's his audience. And he's right, but he needs to take different, and AEW needs to take different steps into appealing to a mass demographic.
We're good.
So what are you basically saying? Tony Khan is like an overweight individual who doesn't want to go to the gym and be better? Is that what he's content with being fat?
No. I think that Tony cares so much about people like what me and you think to a certain extent and others on social media because he was once that fan that wanted to see certain things happen and never got it because it wasn't cool or it wasn't appealing to the mass demographic and it wasn't something that was ever going to happen. Like, if you go back and watch, WWE was never going to put the championships on guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. They did it because they were going through a steroid scandal, and Vince McMahon wanted to change the perception of what WWE looked like. That's why those guys got the opportunity. And I think Tony sits back and realizes that, just like me, that was some of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And realistically, I'm not going to sit back and cater my entire show to a mass demographic. I'm going to cater to the people that I resonate with, that make me feel warm and fuzzy. And that's the IWC and some other people in the wrestling community that are on X or on different social media platforms. And is it a detriment at times? Yeah, because he does need to appeal to a mass demographic. But I feel like Tony is more comfortable appealing to that demographic than any other small niche social media IWC demographic. And again, I applaud him because not the other companies never have it. They give you bits and pieces. You go look at WrestleMania cards, right? You get your attractions, then you get your holy shit, this is going to be a good wrestling match. This is going to be a good wrestling match.
The way that I'm interpreting what you're saying, I'm understanding what you're saying, but I think the way that I'm interpreting it is that Tony Khan is sticking to his guns, he's sticking to his laurels, he's sticking to what his heart believes, and that will ultimately kill him in the end because he refuses to change the company the way that the company needs to be run. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and again, I think Tony is looking at it from a fan's perspective because he is a fan, and he will always be a fan. And he is doing things that maybe he's wanted to see in the wrestling business instead of giving to what a room full of board members want to do. They're not publicly traded, but you understand what I'm saying. I think Tony has always wanted to do this, including on his dream. And now we need to do things a little bit differently so that we can look at this company as a profitable entity. And I think we're getting close. I think we're getting more stores in AEW, but I don't agree with the whole shiny new toys in his mind. That's the stuff I don't see it.
So, I want to make this clear before we move on to the next segment here about what Punk said about the rest of this interview for one. Tony Khan is making some changes. I want to make that abundantly clear. He is bringing in creative writers, according to Jennifer Pepperman. How much that's going to affect the direction of AEW creatively, that remains to be seen. We're not going to choose the data over 3 weeks. He is making changes. He brought in COO. So, I mean, they're making changes where it needs to be, where changes need to be made. So he is making those strides. I don't want to sit here and tell you he's not, but I think more needs to be done. Seriously. So the conversation jumps back to Page, that is workers' rights. Punk says that he thought his run was great up until that point. Punk wasn't upset by what Page said, but that it wasn't what they agreed upon in a meeting ahead of time, so it led to bad television and left him wondering if the planned physicality at the end of the segment would be an issue too. So basically they had discussed what they were going to say, and Page legitimately went off the rails and did something that Punk and he did not talk about. So I wonder why that wasn't reprimanded. Why Page wasn't reprimanded by Tony Khan there. Why Tony Khan doesn't have a fucking earful about what's being said out there, leaving these guys to go out there and say what they say, gave the opportunity for that situation to happen. I don't get it. I look at that and I'm like, I don't know how we even got here. Afterwards, he confronted Page about why he went off the plan, and he thought I got his friend fired, who wasn't fired. Punk went to Tony and the lawyer and told them to fix it because they wouldn't like what he would do if he had to, which I guess we saw because he stewed at home until he was healed from the broken foot, and the first thing that he did was fucking address Adam Page. 3 months at home, he's like, I can't wait to get back and fucking blast this guy on live television. Everything went off the rails from there, and it's a shame, he says. Punk says his remarks at the all-out scrum weren't planned. But when he saw reporters there who are friends with other wrestlers and who wrote things about him without checking with him, it set him off. He does say it's in his top 3 CM Punk promos. There was nothing in the scrum that Tony Khan hadn't heard before. Punk doesn't think he can talk about what happened afterwards, which we alluded to earlier. He's referring to Brawl Out and says he didn't have to sign an NDA for anything I did wrong. He has nothing he wanted to hide, but Khan wanted him to sign an NDA. He doesn't know why. Punk thought he was done with the company after that, falling back to saying he wanted his release rather than going to the Dynamite Collision split plan. No one wanted to talk to him for 6 months after that, or no one did talk to him for 6 months. He researched, booked, and paid for his own triceps recovery surgery, and says the differences between how AEW and WWE handles things like this is night and day. That took me by surprise. What did you think of that when he
Doc Sampson reached to
Okay.
say that, right? So
He was number one.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna sit here and bash the medical staff because I know for a fact, and CM Punk said, I know that you're doctors, and I think he did say, right? Didn't Punk say that? So I mean, listen, is that bullshit? Yeah, absolutely. Should there be people who are handling that? Phil Brooks, especially one of your biggest and brightest talents? Yes, you should 100% have that. So that's a little ridiculous. But again, CM Punk seems to be, Phil Brooks seems to be just like Punk my mindset. Oh, you're not reaching out, you're not calling me, I'll handle myself. And I would never forget. And that's what he did. That's what he did. But again, there are so many things that AEW needs to change, and we cannot be blind to them. This is obviously one of them. They need to be better with ticket sales. They need better pricing scales. They need to continue to move merchandise.
Smaller venues.
Well, if they can make it work with the internet, and you got to remember, they got to run television for these venues. So they got to have that type of accessibility. They're broadcasting nationwide, and sometimes even more than just nationwide. So again, there's a lot of things they need to change. The structure is obviously one of them, and I think they're making changes here and there that can benefit the company. But yeah, the non-reaching out, especially with your biggest star, one of your biggest stars is this.
Yeah, he did say that he's actually ahead of schedule with his tricep injury now in WWE than he was in AEW. And I do have a question. So I got to ask you something about this from this whole interview. AEW we sit here and we say, what could be done better? How do we fix this? How do we fix that? Why did they do away with the house shows? Because typically, the house shows is like an advertisement. Hey, I like this promotion. I've never seen these guys before. I've never seen her or him wrestle. Let's go out, take my family out to a house show and get the show on the road to build some equity and build the brand up so that when they come back to that city, people won't have to go see Dynamite. Why did they do away with the house shows?
Well, first of all, realistically, WWE has changed their business model too in terms of house shows. It's a lot on the talent. There's a lot more injuries, but you also get reps, and I think that's what these are for. Also, you get hit in some different markets that you maybe don't bring television to. And you're right, you can do things at house shows. Maybe a family gets out, all that other stuff. But I think what AEW should do, and why they went away with it, I think it's a cost-effective measurement. In a company that is signing talent to a lot of talent to hefty contracts, and they have other things going on, and their roster is pretty bloated. I think it's a cost measurement thing. Also, I think the lore of AEW is you only have to work Wednesday or Saturday, plus pay-per-views. When you start getting into like a WWE-esque schedule, it's like, okay, well, do I want to work there or do I want to work here? You get some artistic freedom in AEW way more than you probably would in WWE, but I think that's part of it. The other thing, if it's me, Tony asked me, Drew, what would you do? I would run Daly's Place every month, Saturday and Sunday, house shows. That's what I would do. Or maybe something like that, like I'd run, Daly's Place on a Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe I'd go to, I don't know, Tampa or something, or whatever. I would run them, for sure. But again, it's got to be, the timing's got to be right, and you got to feel like you can draw, and you don't want 1,000 people showing up to your house show because then it's a net negative.
Yeah. As to why he did agree to come back, he says, I have a lot of friends in AEW, and Khan wasn't going to let him go. Rather than sit at home, he thought he tried to get some guys together and have some fun shows, which was the case because Collision in that first month has never been better, and they haven't really reached that height since the first month of the show. Those shows were fucking great. They were better than Dynamite. So that's exactly what he did. He knew as soon as he came back it wasn't going to work. Asked if there was anything that he's proud of from his time in AEW. He says he's got a lot of friends over there. That he got to do a lot of cool shit, specifically mentioning getting to work with Sting. I think the positives outweigh the negatives. So he didn't have to say that, but he did say the positives outweigh the negatives. I look at it more like I was, or I thought I was. I thought I was coming in to help the business. If I could teach something great. And I think I was just brought in for other reasons, their business. I know a lot of people are going to be upset. It's just not predicated. It's not a real business, not about selling tickets. We did talk about that. He talks about attending an indie show recently and telling someone that what happens there works at that level, as evidenced by selling out an arcade bar. But that shit doesn't fly on national television. I think that's being proven right now. So basically, he's saying that AEW still has that indie mentality, which they need to break very, very quickly. I legitimately wish everyone there well. I'm just recounting my past. Says he's proud of the work he did with MJF. It's probably AEW's greatest feud ever. With some of their best matches ever. And thinks MJF's future is bright, and he's immensely talented. He wasn't great when he catered to the niche internet audience. What do you think of that comment about MJF catering to the internet audience?
I think it's accurate, and I think MJF moved away from it, and I think that's smart. They have a ton of talent. They being AEW has a ton of talent that already has that of the eyeballs of the niche audience on them. So while MJF was smart to try and gain some respect from that audience, which he did, his Iron Man match, some other things, the bull rope match with Punk and all, it was a bull rope match, right?
With MJF?
Yeah.
It was a
dog collar match, and he gained a lot of respect from that audience, the IWC audience, and all that other stuff. MJF's a total package, and I'm not talking about Lex Luger, like he's got it all. So it was smart for him to gain that equity, and now, I think you're seeing what CM Punk was talking about with MJF, which is he's becoming slowly but surely AEW's main attraction, and not just this guy you could have for great matches. Yeah. Asked if AEW will be around. Punk thinks it's a loaded question. Says it's always going to exist as long as Tony Khan wants to pump money into it. Whether they can be successful is a matter of perspective. There's nothing wrong with being stuck in the indie mindset. If you're still happy that some goof gave you a 5-star match and the buildings are quarter full, listen, we're not in the same business, he tells Ariel.
I was sold on AEW being very much an alternative to what WWE was, and that's the biggest shame to me. This is the last chance. Then he says this, which a lot of people kind of ran with and made into a big deal. I didn't really see the big deal with this because I saw exactly where Punk was coming from. He said, guaranteed money almost kind of ruined pro wrestling. If you had to get paid off the house, things would drastically be different. He ain't wrong. He's not wrong. And what I took from that comment is that Tony signs these guys, these men and women, to guaranteed money. They wrestle maybe once or twice a week, if that. Have to show up for work once or twice a week. There's no house show circuit, pay-per-view minus pay-per-view. What that does, in my mindset, the way I interpret that was, you get paid all this money, whether you work or not, you get the same amount of money, and people are going to get lazy because they know they're going to get paid no matter what. That's what Punk is saying. There's no drive. There's no drive. If there was a cap on what everybody was making in AEW, and you had to go out and be paid based off how many people were sitting in that arena, and how much merch was being sold, and pay-per-view numbers, obviously not going to happen, but if you had to get paid on all those other aspects, how much harder would you work to attain what you want to make yearly in AEW as opposed to, hey man, I'm going to sit around fucking 6 days out of 7 and not do shit, and Tony's going to pay me the same amount whether I'm there or not. That's what he's talking about.
I think it's prominent in my industry, and that's, how we hire a lot of people, and that's how I was brought on. Was here's 75,000, here's 80,000, and quarterly bonuses depending on performance. And I think that while that would be great for the wrestling business, it'll never happen because that basically the unionization of the wrestling business, which is something that everyone's wanted for years, decades, centuries almost, will never happen because that comes with equal pay and a collective bargaining agreement and all that other stuff. And you will get to see what everyone's making. And if XYZ's making $5 million, well, I want to make $5 million too. And then you have equal pay across the board. It'll never work. The unionization of professional wrestling will never happen. It will never happen. It's solely because of that instance right there. And to JD's point, performance-based metrics should be the reason you get paid either higher or lower. And I said this yesterday. I'm not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am a businessman. And CM Punk is very good for business. Go look at the numbers, please.
Yes, he is. I mean, just look at what he did on Monday Night Raw. I don't want to use the ratings as a metric. We just talk about how the ratings is an outdated aspect. But Punk, last week with McIntyre, did 500,000 more than any other segment on Monday Night Raw last week with Drew and Seth Rollins. They weren't there for McIntyre. It was fucking unbelievable. They weren't there for Rollins. They were there for Punk. So, is he a draw? Yes, it's a fucking draw.
And somebody asked, why is this guy talking like you have no wrestling shirts? That's not... I said I don't like to use them because me and JD are not in the wrestling business. We're not wrestling in the middle of the ring right now. We're not doing an angle or a storyline for a major professional wrestling company. So it's called just talking like normal human beings, not professional wrestlers.
Two more things here left, bullet points from the podcast. He said, yeah, 2 contracts for that earlier. One as a talent and one as a consultant for Tony Khan. I think we'll kind of figure that out over time. He thinks Tony wishes he was still there, which is definitely the case. But others are probably glad he's gone. Won't say who, but it's people who didn't want him there in the first place. And then he goes on to say that he doesn't ever think he'll bury the hatchet for Colt Cabana. Says Cabana approached him at some point before All Out 2022. And that incident, when he told him he wouldn't speak to him without a lawyer present. And that was basically the gist of the AEW discussion with CM Punk and Ariel Helwani, which I thought was a fantastic 2-hour podcast on his MMA. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done too. And again, I thought he was open and honest. Punk continues to show why he's one of the best interviewees in the game. And if you can get him to be open, free, and honest, and have a cup of coffee with him, like, it's well worth it. And it was another, notch for Ariel Helwani.
I want to get into the AEW releases here. This actually happens at the 10 o'clock hour while we were getting into the 3rd hour of Monday Night Raw. I just seen a lot of people tweeting about AEW releasing several talents. This is coming from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com. The following names have been released from the company. And Tony Khan is making budget cuts. And like Drew and I talked off air before we actually went live at TNT, everything is a coincidence. You know, it's not, or would you say, it's not, this is not a coincidence or something like that.
Yeah, nothing in life is a coincidence. So I believe that this was something that was probably planned, and then all of a sudden Tony was like, "Okay, let's do this now." Yeah, look, listen. If I'm betting, here's the deal. Which also I heard Seth Rollins use on Monday Night Raw, and The Rock did too. Not that I will recoin that.
And why don't we just get a shout out on a weekly show that they watch TNT? I'm a TNT.
Listen, I doubt you're going to watch it. DJ, if you're watching, what's up? Anyways, I believe that Tony was watching the CM Punk interview, just like the rest of the world was.
So these names have been released. Stu Grayson, which he was a part of the Dark Order, tag team of Evil Uno. I mean, they didn't really do much of it after that initial time that they brought him back for a second time. Dasha Fuentes was released, ring announcer. I thought she did a decent job, and I think she was in progress, but they let her go. No reason why. Anthony Henry, which a lot of people were upset about. He was a tag team with J.D. Drake in the Workhorsemen. Dalton Castle's boys were released. So Dalton Castle's going to need maybe a new gimmick or some new boys. Slim J was released. Gravity. Jose the Assistant was released. He was with LFI, which is a little weird. Parker Boudreaux was released after he had stated that he's still with AEW prior in the day, and then he deleted his tweet after they released him. And Jorah Joel. No idea who that is, but those are the names right now released. More names are to be expected, they say, but they'll update the list as soon as possible. You know, Tony Khan didn't release these people because of what CM Punk said about AEW not being run as a business. That did not lead him to release these people. Obviously, this was a calculated, thought-out process, and they're looking to cut payroll. They just brought in 3 huge contracts. So I'm assuming that AEW is going to try and cut budget where it's necessary. They may limit the amount of people that they do bring in from this point on. I know the Machine Guns are rumored to be going to AEW. I don't know how likely that is. I think we should be done with bringing people into AEW. But I will say this, Drew, and I don't want to come off as insensitive, but I do think that we could maybe get another 10 to 20 releases from AEW. I do think they need to trim the fat even more so. I don't want people to lose their job, but Tony Khan has brought in so many people that aren't being used that I think a budget cut for AEW, even though he said he didn't want to do it, is necessary.
Yeah, I would sit back, and I don't have it in front of me, but if I was given the financials for AEW and who's making what, and who's maximizing TV time that we give them, are we giving said person enough TV time? Should we, et cetera, cost-effective measurements? I'm sure there's a lot of people that I would probably cross off, but again, these are guys and girls who are trying to make a living, so I'm not going to sit here and throw speculative content out there who I believe is going to be released, who I think should be released. I would do that privately. And again, I think there's, to JD's point, there's a lot of fat to be trimmed. We'll see what happens. But, signing Okada, Will Ospreay, and Mercedes is going to have a ripple effect because those are 3 fat contracts, and deservingly so. So now what happens, just like in any business, isn't run like a clown show, is you have to trim some of that fat, and it probably comes in, you sign 3, you got to release 26, 27. Just what happens, unfortunately.
Moving on, we got some WWE news and notes here. The WWE is heading to Glasgow for the Clash of the Castle in Scotland this June, Saturday, June 15th, which is very telling because a Scotland native is a free agent, supposedly, after WrestleMania. So a lot of people are now speculating what the deal is with Drew McIntyre going into his WrestleMania match against Seth Rollins on night 2 this coming weekend. What do you make of this, Drew, that they announced this? I'm glad that the concept is back. I thought the first one was fucking incredible. I think those fans over there are going to be ravenous as hell. I love the UK fans or the European fans. And then, obviously, Drew McIntyre's going to have a huge play in this. And the one thing that he has wanted as far as the WWE contract extension is he wants more time with his family. Again, like you said, I don't find this to be a big.
No, I think that Drew McIntyre is either going to win the World Championship at this PLE, or he'll be walking in as new champion. I would like to You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they give Drew that moment, maybe in Scotland. No, I think they might give it to him in Scotland. If they give it to him in Philly and Priest doesn't cash in and all that other stuff, I can easily see CM Punk and Drew McIntyre main eventing that PLE because it holds about 15,000 people. So I can see it.
So you think Punk is going to be back by that time?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, they got like what, 3 months?
Yeah.
2 months before that show? Yeah. I think we'll be back.
So that's pretty exciting. So also another side note here. I know AEW has not announced the true date for Forbidden Door. Clearly, it won't be that weekend. So it's either going to be before that, or what I think is going to be after that. Whatever the Saturday or Sunday is following the June 15th date is when we'll see Forbidden Door here at the Harper Wrestling. Moving on with some other news and notes here. We have. What do I got here? Bo Dallas. Did you watch the documentary?
Of course.
I have not. So I will not talk about the documentary, but I do know what happened at the end of the documentary between the legal commenting online. Bo Dallas.
It's not really the ending.
Okay. Well, it was a huge, I guess, pertinent to TV moment. Yeah. Bo Dallas update. Bo Dallas will be returning to WWE TV, at least to be hinted at the Bray Wyatt documentary that was revealed on Monday. At the end of the newly released Bray Wyatt documentary, there is a familiar imagery. In the signature ominous Bray Wyatt style, there's a video that is likely hinting towards the future of Bo Dallas. There's a lantern that pans out before hearing a voice say, "Run." Then we see the silhouette of a figure which looks to be Uncle Howdy. And good news on this, WWE sources have told Fightful it's a teaser for Bo Dallas' eventual return. We don't know when that will be, but it was a deliberate inclusion. We also haven't learned what a return could look like as of yet. One WWE rep noted to Fightful months ago that they did not want to rush Dallas back after the untimely passing of Brother Ray. I'm all for it. I said, you know, if they want to bring back Bo, which I think would be great, to have him live on with the legacy of Bray Wyatt, I think it would be great. Clearly, it wasn't going to happen so soon after Bray's passing. I mean, even like you said, and I said, let us wait for the Hall of Fame induction event too soon. They want to let that kind of breathe a little bit. Same thing with this. I'm all for it, man. If they want to have the memory of Bray live on through his brother, right, and they do it in an epic way, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Uncle Howdy. That was Bo, obviously, and I don't want to see, I don't want to see Bo resurrect, you know, the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse and stuff like that. Like, Bo should kind of do his own thing, and definitely carry the mansion. Uncle Howdy can kind of be that character, but again, that's just me. You know, I love what's potentially going to happen with Bo Dallas, and the memory of the documentary was fantastic. It really puts life in perspective. It really shows you the genius of Bo. And I will say that, you know, yesterday while watching that Blood Working, it made you just really. It's always been huge in my life, but family is so important, and Bray exemplified that. Wyndham exemplified that, and you know, his art. He was a madman. But most madmen are geniuses, and that's what Wyndham was, and will always be. Again, I put out on social media, I think it would be cool if we got Taker, comes out on the mic, because I don't think he's going to do the dead man stuff anymore. Flies the lantern down the middle of the ring, puts the lantern in the middle of the ring, we get the Fireflies in vision of that being Taker kind of saluting Bray one more time, and then, you know, we also braces Bo, whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, I like it. I can actually see that happening on either Saturday or Sunday. We have one more piece of news here, WrestleMania news. There is a celebrity that WWE reached out to for WrestleMania, whether that will be Saturday or Sunday remains to be seen. Obviously, we got Meek Mill, Lil Wayne are going to be there as the musical performers. But while speaking with TMZ Sports last month, The Miz noted that he thinks retired Philadelphia Eagles center Jason Kelce would be great in WWE. Now, Sean Ross Sapp of Select reported that WWE actually reached out to Kelce for a possible appearance. It would be a good get for the company since he's a big star in the sports world and obviously in the city of Philadelphia. Do you see this being
the case for this weekend, Drew. And not only Jason Kelsey, but more other prominent sports figures in the Philadelphia market.
Absolutely with Jason Kelsey, and I will say this: my son's favorite celebrity involvement in professional wrestling, Bad Bunny, I think is going to be a part of WrestleMania as well.
Okay. Maybe a part of that Rey Mysterio match?
Maybe, I don't know, but I will tell you that I think WWE is going to get Jason Kelsey and Bad Bunny involved in WrestleMania. And honestly, I made the prediction of Steve Austin and John Cena. I think we're getting a whole boatload of surprises on Saturday and Sunday.
Ilya Dragunov, he may be called up to the main roster. We know Carmelo Hayes is getting called up after WrestleMania and his match with Trick Williams at Stand and Deliver. Fightful Select is reporting that they've been told Dragunov is not planning to call up at this time, but is expected to make his way to the main roster when he loses the NXT Championship. As some feel in NXT, he's beyond the brand at this stage of his career. Now, we don't know if he's going to drop the title to Tony D'Angelo on Saturday or not. I don't really know. I would not drop it to Tony D. I said last night when people brought up the discussion on Raw folks that they Dijak would be the perfect opportunity to get that belt off of Dragunov. I think that would be a unbelievable match. Put it on Dijak and put in the work. It was great down there. And Dragunov can get called up around, I would say, some of these European shows that WWE, maybe Backlash, maybe Clash at the Castle. But I do feel when Bash in Berlin, I think that would be the perfect opportunity to do it. Maybe they hold it off till then. But whatever happens with Dragunov, I know a lot of people are clamoring for Dragunov and Gunther match. I don't know if that's going to be the case right away. But whatever brand he goes to should be the same brand that Gunther is on. But I will say this about Dragunov: don't rush it. It's going to happen this year. Put the title on somebody that absolutely deserves it. I'm not saying Tony D doesn't deserve it, but I think Dijak is the guy. And anybody that's in the ring with Dragunov is going to be better off for it. He is absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorites in the entire company. If you don't know who he is, start getting the Google machine ready. Get to know him. Because when you see him, when you see him wrestle, you're going to want to see him more and more every time you do see him. So I can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah, I would love to see Ilya in the Raw or SmackDown. We'll have to wait and see. I can easily see them bring him up for National win. I like Tony D to win the NXT World Championship, if you want to call it that. And I think Tony D and what do they call it? Lexus King would be a good program. There's some others in NXT. I mean, Trick Williams. I think Melo's gone. So, we don't have to even talk about that because Melo's headed to the main roster. But there's a lot of talent in NXT. And, I think Tony D, Lexus King, and Trick Williams should be the top three to take that championship.
And finally, guys, before we get into the Super Chats, I want to thank everybody for the 3,400 that we had in here on this Tuesday afternoon. Holy shit, thank you guys very much. I know
Paramore is playing. I believe Paramore will get into the ring.
And Cody Rhodes might be getting a new version of Kingdom as well from some teasers from Downstate. One more thing. I know Drew and I had fun with it on Saturday. I was actually watching The Walking Dead, the Ones Who Live finale with Rick and Michonne on Saturday, and I got...
That's still going on.
It's over. 6 episodes, it's over. I got a text. Yeah, what the series? Yeah. So I got a text from my guy, Big Hodge. And he sends me a whoa with a surprise emoji. Like, what the fuck happened now? He's like, Cardona is on AEW Collision. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. It was last Tuesday where Drew and I debated about what needs to happen with the Cope Open. After Copeland defending TNT Championship in an open challenge, he gave his reasons why it's great. I gave my reasons why I didn't want to see another generic, open challenge with the likes of Brian Keith and Lee Moriarty and these fucking Tony Nese challenge. Like, nobody gives a shit. Do something different with it. I know Drew mentioned when John Cena did the US Open Challenge so many years ago on WWE. Like, that's what you gotta do. Bring somebody in who's not with the company that's gonna be a genuine surprise. And then lo and behold, I pulled Matt Cardona. If you want to make it special, let's bring somebody that's not with the company, like a Matt Cardona out. You see? Matt Cardona show up on Saturday Night Collision. It's a great fucking match. He's not signed with the company. I don't think he's going to sign with the company, but that's exactly what you need to do. Now we got to one-up it. Now we got to get Ali in there. Now we got to get Nemeth, maybe Matt Riddle. Who knows? Maybe Sheamus doesn't re-sign with the WWE. Maybe he shows up as a free agent in AEW and challenges Adam Cole. What do you think of the Cardona appearance?
I think the Cardona appearance was smart. I think when you're looking at an open challenge, you need to hit a home run out of the gate. You need to set a precedent. And they did. This means anybody, anytime, anywhere can show up from any different company, from any indie promotion to New Japan to Ring of Honor to whomever. And I think, when you start off with Matt Cardona, it'll be tough to go to, Lee Moriarty or somebody like you wanted to mention before. So I think they'll keep the name value up because that's the smart way to handle business. And as soon as, we get some talent that's currently on the AEW roster, then you start to have the alarm bells go off that, okay, maybe Copeland is dropping that championship sooner rather than later. My biggest problem with everything that happened, I love the Cardona thing, I love the match. It's a dream match that Matt wanted to have, and I'm sure Adam wanted to have as well. But Adam Copeland not defending the TNT Championship at Dynasty is a massive mess for me. It should just be Copeland versus Black.
Yeah, I know they had Malachi Black come out. He'll be Alistair soon enough. Malachi Black show up and basically confront him, and then Buddy Matthews attacked, and then we get Briscoe and Eddie Kingston saving the day. We got the big six-man tag team match. Listen, I'm glad House of Black's getting a pay-per-view match because they're great. But like you said, having that championship not defended on a pay-per-view, I don't like that decision. But maybe they'll save it for Double or Nothing. I don't know. So hopefully that's
but I mean, at that point, it's like, I get it. Like, we don't need to have a TNT Championship match on Dynasty because Copeland is defending it, every week or every other week on Collision. And I get that, but man, I will tell you, I was excited for Malachi Black and Adam Copeland. And then all of a sudden, when it became a six-man, I was like, man, this sucks. That sucks.
I can understand that feeling. Let's get the Briscoe House of Black story finished. Obviously, he's backing up Copeland, and it gives way for them to tell a story between Copeland and Black. Maybe they build a program out of it. Maybe they build some dialogue out of it. Why this happened? Why that happened? So, giving it some time to breathe might not be a bad thing. So we'll see. But guys, I thank you for the 3,400 in here. I told Drew before it was going to be a decent audience tonight, or this afternoon, 3,400. You guys eclipsed my prediction by 400. I said 3,000. So thank you guys very much for all your support. We are going to get into your super chats, and then Drew's got some business to take care of. He's going to fly out to Philly, and I'll be meeting him on Thursday, man. Very exciting week coming up. Follow us on social media at JakeFanelli206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Cameo, at Andrew Bagdala on X. Go and follow us both for all the latest updates all week long in Philly.
Yeah, I want to hop in here. Guys and girls, if you see us in Philadelphia and you're like being timid about coming up and saying hi, I mean, if we're eating dinner, obviously, I always respect people's spaces, even if, I know who they are or whatever, I'm not going to get up to dinner. But if you guys see us out and want to say what's up, say what's up. Don't be weird. We bleed just like you guys do. And, we all are human, and I have no problem saying hi or taking a picture. I'm sure JD doesn't either with people who love the show going on. Don't be shy. We're walking the streets or you see us at wrestling or whatever, come say hi.
Yeah, like I said, we'll be at the Undertaker show, we'll be at WWE World on Saturday, I'll be at House of Glory Friday, or WrestleCon Saturday, WWE World on Friday, wherever we are, just come and say what's up if you guys do see us out in public. But make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. We got 1,000 likes. Appreciate you guys very much for that. Super chats are open. Get them on in. And please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell for all notifications. Cody with a $5 super chat. Cody Snyder kicked off mini yesterday by watching Punk and Randy rewatch their Mania 27 match. Awesome stuff, man. A couple of goats. I did watch it. And the fact that Randy was very happy that Punk is back in WWE, man, brought a smile to my face. It really did.
If I could give you a couple matches to go back and watch before WrestleMania happens on Saturday, go back and watch Brett and Steve from 13. Go back and watch the ladder match from WrestleMania 2000 with the Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. Go back and watch. Let me give you one more. Go back and watch Edge and Mick Foley from WrestleMania 22.
And everything. Absolutely fantastic match. A Watson with it 22 months. What's up, JD? I got the Go Google It t-shirt weeks ago. I absolutely love it. Cheers, bro. Thank you, Watson. Appreciate that, man. Captain Solo, Flat Out Super Jet Punk, just gives dudes like Eric Bischoff and Jim Cornette hours and hours of material to work with. Let the podcast bury us of Tony Khan. We don't want to bury Tony Khan. We love AEW. We want to see it succeed. We just want him to make the right business decisions as far as what is presented on TV. That's all we want. What those two guys do, I think they got some sort of agenda. Not my space to talk about. MGM with a 1999 The Geeks. Hate when you get pushback and don't agree with every word JT says. It's the reason that shows shit on everyone else's. Not lasting on it. You guys keep being great. And I'm going to laugh at Jesse when Ronda shows up. That's Drew's prediction. Ronda's going to show up in AEW.
Wait, what happened? Jesse said no way.
Jesse does not want to see Ronda show up in AEW. Okay. Michael Krause with the $2 JD Drew Hopeful as well as Sid Travel this week. Thank you, Mike. Lord J. Coyle with the 5. Used to be a Punk fan pre-AEW. These days he seems like a fair old man. Acts like he's for workers' rights, but says guaranteed money ruin wrestling. Well, Lord J, I explained to you why he said that. And hopefully that definition of what I said and definition of what I said there made some sense to you. He is for the company. He loves pro wrestling. He just wants the best for everybody. Francis Luke, Final Superchat. I saw a Super Bowl picture with Bayley, Naomi, Mercedes, and Britt Baker all together. Britt and Mercedes will eventually be in the ring together. Yeah, they can get Mercedes in the ring ASAP. Soon. Michelle with a 2. Some days I feel like TK runs AEW like a toy box. Drew didn't agree with that. I said that he didn't agree with it, but
That's why this show's the best. You have your opinion on it.
Francis Luke with a 5. I can just sit here or eat the fish chasing CEO. That will be a pay-per-view match, though. For PMD, maybe for the TBS. I think Mercedes winning the TBS title for sure. I think that's going to happen. I think Willow's going to win it, and then she's going to battle Mercedes at the top. Raging Girl Game with a new membership. I know that's not the case. She's a member for 42 months. I don't know why it says a new membership. Sorry, this may be a stupid question, but are you and Andrew going to be at WrestleMania doing meet and greet at the tailgate? Yes, we are.
Fortress, this is Tombstone.
Yes, we are. If you're there, come say what's up. Chef Joss with the pot 199. My boys, what lot will the tailgate be located?
We're going to get that information shortly, but I can tell you that we have a parking lot. We have like 3 or 4 spaces right next to the Video Financial Building. We're in the Video Financial Building parking.
Scott Woodford with 13 months. Happy Tuesday. Wrestling Soup NF.
DMT that motherfucker.
JD Scott. Thank you. Love the guys over at Wrestling Soup. Good bunch of guys. Dylan Cummings with a $5 super chat. Punk said TK is a nice guy, but also said he's a clown. How do you think he personally feels about TK? I think he basically told you he thinks TK is a nice guy, but he's not running the business like Punk would want someone to run a business. Average Gamer with a $17.99. It's funny to see how people online blame CM Punk with no one better than I. Jack, nobody, Harry, cussing at management. I love AEW, but fucking its fans. And then they're very elitist. Just like any other fan base. Dylan Cummings with the $2 super chat. Do you think Punk and the Elite will ever reconcile? No. Don't need it. They're all doing it all. Raging Girl Game with $5 super chat. Been a while since I donated. I'm sorry, JD. I got a new job, so happy more donations coming soon. Your community seriously got me through a lot. Rage. Happy to hear it, and we are happy that you are in the midst of a new job. It's great to hear. Norbit with a 5. Looking forward to Mania. I will be there for night 2. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you, Norbit. Enjoy yourself. Sidro, 19 months. 19 months to the final bosses of the IWC. Enjoy WrestleMania. Wish I could be there. Have a Long Island for me. If you drink that or not. Much love always. I love you.
I know there are a lot of rumblings about taking on.
Tay Tay with a $4.99. Drew, I love being on your playback shows. JD, I love listening to your show. You guys are the best in the IWC. Thank you, Tay. Sidro, 5. Wondering what seats you and Drew got for Mania. Might want a night seat close to ringside. Hope you have a blast. P.S. Jack Perry, go touch some glass. Haha. Guys, I'm not going to WrestleMania. Drew is. I'm not. I will be home covering the show on YouTube. Matthew Ruiz with a $100 bomb. Thank you, Matthew. The greatest tag team in all of entertainment, TNT. Please be safe. Take this donation and have a cold one on me this week. And Matthew, we will certainly down a couple old fashions for you in Philadelphia. M. Scarano with a 5. Elite and Tony fumbled. Ratings and attendance down since All Out 2023. It's obviously why. It's obvious why. Yeah, we talk about it often, Scarano. Jamel turning with 499 when Punk says slandering, he means Tony saying he feared for his life when he did nothing to him. Again, two sides to every story. AJ, 11 months in the venue. The best podcast in the IWC, JD Drew, respect. Can't wait for WrestleMania. Cody finally gets crowned champion. I can't wait. Yep. He will be champion Sunday night. Hush with 499 man, seeing the releases is heartbreaking. The issue of this is TK went out of his way to say he'd never do mass releases like WWE. What changed? The contracts of Okada, Mercedes, and Osprey. That's what changed.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to see a WrestleMania prediction show, me and JD, for night one, let us know. Yeah. If the demand's there, we'll do it.
Phil with 28 months. JD Drew, great TNT as always. I'm looking forward to being there for my first WrestleMania. Can't wait to experience that atmosphere. Stay safe. Phil, enjoy yourself, brother. Stay safe as well. Tay-Tay, yeah. Tay-Tay with the $9.99 CM Punk exposed AEW so badly that Tony Khan had to release 10 people yesterday. That wasn't the case, Tay-Tay. That was pre-planned. Tony Khan needs to step up his leadership, book good television storylines, and give us a reason to watch everything. Man of 1,005 olds, 30 more months. One of my problems with TK is that he panics too often rather than go with the flow. But he becomes a better boss and the company grows. That's all we want. Deontay with a 5. What do you guys think about CM Punk's comment that guarantee money is ruining the business? Talked about that on the show, Deontay. Phil with a $9.99. Appreciate you, Phil. He says, where the hell did he go? There it is. Bray Wyatt, Becoming Immortal was amazing. It's a documentary that everyone, even on us, all he ever wanted was to leave a legacy for his family and fans, and he did. We miss Bray. He did. Like Drew said, a mastermind. The crazier he was, the more genius he was.
Would you please step back, ma'am?
Vinny, 499. Moral of the Punk story. Grass isn't always greener on the other side. Happy's back with WWE. Dude's a god on the line. Yes, he is. I can't wait for the Drew and
We've got no means.
Punk
Most
feud
of our equipment went down in
WWE.
Look, the
Bradley with 199. You going to the Wells Fargo Center Friday evening? I will not be. I'm doing House of Glory and going back to Planet City.
I will stay with him.
I will be attending the whole thing.
Fine.
Adam Asper with a $10 super chat. Happy Tuesday, JD and Drew. Looking forward to seeing how the rest of this week turns out. WrestleMania, the Final Four in men's and women's basketball news. Not into college sports, but Final Four, everybody loves this shit. It's not being good. It's baseball season. For some. Mike 43, for some. Mike 43 to us. Imagine CM Punk versus Dragunov. Weather is brutal. Yeah, hopefully it gets better as we get closer to the weekend, Mike.
I mean, come on, it's going to be 60 degrees and sunny on Sunday. I mean, listen, is it Miami? Is it, Texas? No, but I mean, 21. Yeah, shut up. Hollywood guy with a 5. JD Drew, will you be disappointed if Cody loses at WrestleMania and loses what's next? He's not losing. Will I be disappointed?
Jody Stage with a 999. What's up, JD and Drew? I know I haven't super chatted in a while, and I apologize for that. Been going through a lot with money issues, and I hope to see you guys this weekend. I'll be in Philly for WrestleMania Nation. Come on out, brother.
Don't ever apologize for saving your money due to financial hard times, hardships. We're all going through it. We appreciate your viewership.
Absolutely. Ollie with a 199. Hey, JD, would you see Stu Grayson in WWE? Oh, no.
What do I know?
Micah does it with a 199. JD, can you block the tailgate for us? Who can't go? I'll see what I can do, man. I'm very hesitant about vlogging in public. It's just a self-conscious thing, like, confidence thing. I don't like holding my camera, looking at everybody, look at me. It's like something kind of weird.
Yeah, who is that has? Micah.
Hey, count 396
Micah. We might have somebody film and record the live TNT, so that we might do. We'll have to figure out how to get that done, but I have somebody who
Come on, man. You're not buying into that Billy Enemy bullshit. No, of course not.
40 by
It
Dev.
wasn't
Rock
your
has the
call to
best
make.
entrance
Don't
right
put
now
Ruffin in
wrestling. Yes,
charge.
it is spectacular. And apparently I was told that
What
when they
the
got
fuck
put
is this
in
about?
WrestleMania.
The
to
right
be
thing of
honest.
fucking protocol, man.
Jeremy with 31
You know
is
what?
the best
Let's
in the
take this
tag
there.
team
Let's take Garrison
IWC.
proper.
Love
No,
TNT.
you
Keep up the
are
days and
the
Jeremy,
squad
thank
leader
you so
with
much, brother. Nation again, 499. Also thoughts on Matt Hardy lately. Roxanne Perez is heel and Motor City Machine Guns. Part of you would love to see the Machine Guns in WWE. I'll be in Philly from 4/5 to 4/8. Love Roxanne. I think the Machine Guns landed in AEW and Matt Hardy. I mean, I don't really care where he goes, honestly. Tone C with 13.